Well, I came this far. This is the beginning of the walkway over the Hudson, Poughkeepsie Bridge, Poughkeepsie Railroad Bridge. I'll do a whole feature on this. I'll walk all the way over and get you some shots next time. Main objective is I wanted to get some info and see what's left of the old Poughkeepsie and Eastern and Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. They both got their starts right here in the city of Poughkeepsie, New York, Dutchess County. Let's go see if we can find anything that's left of them, okay? Okay. More infrastructure being torn up. As we go from that destruction to the remnants of a signal tower here today in Poughkeepsie, New York, on the Maybrook line, the bridge route. Hudson River's that way. Long time, Danbury that way. This is the Maybrook line. I took a venture down here to Poughkeepsie, New York today to shoot this for you. Plus a guy down along the way owed me 30 bucks. So at least I know I got coffee today and lunch. Thank you very much. What do we got here? See what they do here. When they tear up all this destruction, they save some remnants of the old rail infrastructure. Switch stands, all kinds of good stuff. Let's see here, General Railway, I believe. Yep. General Railway Signal Company, Rochester, New York. So, anyway, there's the entrance off the street. This is now part of the Hudson River, New York State Greenway. Better be out of here by 4:30. I think we can do that. Oh look, here's a little kiosk. Let's see what it says. See now, the railroad men didn't need this. We are, let's see, we are right around in here. It goes 13 miles back that way. There's the bridge and the Hudson and all that good stuff, and over this way it goes towards Maybrook, out that way. I'm going to do a whole feature on the walkway one of these days. Maybe I'll go out there. I'm so close. I'm only this far. Okay, so we were way up there. That's the Maybrook main line there, bridge route. And if you look at this gradient right here, that nice curve coming off there, yep, you guessed it. Old Sam, as always, is sitting right on the right-of-way. Goes off this way. This is Parker Avenue right here. And that right there is the start of the city street running. Right here, that's where the, for all intents and purposes, the Poughkeepsie and Eastern came off the Maybrook line and went down through this way and went through the city. That is, I believe, Garden Street over there, and this is Parker Avenue here. Now right here in this general area here was the oh, I have to look in the books, but I believe it was the Collingwood and Seaman coal pocket. There are some remnants up there off the main line of some stone and concrete infrastructure that I do believe was part of that. I just asked the driver of that truck if I could go in there and snoop around, and he said, "No way, man, no way." Well, I was right. That was Garden Street, right back yonder, past that orange marker back there by that other cone. That's where we just were. This, of course, that up there is the main line, Poughkeepsie Bridge route. This right here was the hospital line, hospital branch, where it came way over yonder. Came off of the New York Central Main Line, River Line, and it went up to the state hospital. I will post a reference to the video that I did on the state hospital there, Poughkeepsie State Hospital. This is where it came down and joined into the city line. So this formed as a great big gigantic turning Y. Now if we look at this building here, this used to be Lamazney Construction way back. Oh yeah, there's still a sign up there. This loading dock here, yes, this was for rails. It might still be down in there, I don't know, but this was boxcar and flat car offloading. There was a spur that came off of this line and went right down here. Boom. Railroad infrastructure here in the city of Poughkeepsie, New York, Dutchess County, USA, the world. As we look at old Sam there in an urban setting, one more little tasty tidbit of fun fact information. That entire brand new building there is the Dutchess County Jail. Yeah, and that was the site of Smith Brothers cough drops. Smith Brothers from Poughkeepsie, two big bearded brothers. They were Trade and Mark. There was a spur off of either this line or the city line, and I guess at that point it doesn't much matter, but there was a spur that went into the Smith Brothers cough drop factory at one point. It later became Candyland. They made and manufactured candy canes and sweet stuff like that. My buddy Scott Traver drove for them. He drove an old cab over out of there down in New Jersey. A lot of stories out of him on that. Right, Scott? All right, that's where we were back there. Then we were over there. As we turn, Sam is sitting on the right of way again. We're walking on it. This is indeed Garden Street. Went right back in there and met up with the hospital branch right about by that red plow back there. That's where the two merged into one another. And that is all the old original Smith Brothers cough drops, Candyland sweets up there. Yeah, no trespassing. Today is what, Friday? Yeah, today ends in a Y. I won't go in there. One little side note, this Alloy's restaurant here, I got drunk and danced on the bar in there one night. Oh, don't tell anybody. Well, that's good to know. Huh. Here we are on the line. Dutchess County Jail, formerly Smith Brothers cough drops property, rail bed right there. I'm just looking for anything. Boy, I remember the tracks here. I remember trains going through here. After the Poughkeepsie Bridge fire in '74, they continued. Of course, they stopped on the Maybrook line, but they continued street running here. And you can see the cracks where the rails were right here. Boy, we got a lot of cars coming. We can take this one here and we'll go for it. Yes, yes. The rails were in the ground here till only a few years ago, but that overpass up there, that's Clinton Street, and of course we're on Hamilton Street here by the DCJ. Hi, Sam. Well, there's a railroad tie down there. There goes the bed out that way. We came up to the top of the hill here onto Clinton Street, North Clinton Street. I believe that was North Hamilton, and this is North Clinton. There's South Clinton and South Hamilton also. Oh, look, a book. And of course, here's the rail bed here with all the spoils of man in it. Mattresses, clothing, tarps, beer cans. Right down there by that kid on the bicycle is where we just were. That's Gorman's Garage. A little shout out to Donnie Gorman. Pulled me out of a ditch a few times. And let's get back across here to the safety of the steel encased Sam cabin. Well, that's the Morrison Company building, and now it's the Blue Collar Brewery. And we're headed that way toward the Smith Street Yard. Let's go. All right, here's what's left of the Smith Street Yard. But we still have this. It's a loading dock. Directly built, used and constructed and used for trains on that side, trucks on this side. Yep. Stay there, Sam. I'll be right back. Some homeless folks have probably slept under that thing a time or two. Nothing we need to worry about. Yes, this was the Smith Street Yard. That's FCO Bakery, Efron Baking Company, FCO. And this was all a rail bed. This is indeed where the station was for the Poughkeepsie and Eastern. This was its home terminus right here. I'm glad to see the loading dock is still left for what it's worth. I remember seeing boxcars backed up on that other side and trucks on this side doing some cross loading. All right, let's get back to Sam and hop on over, and we'll park in the lot and see if there's any rails or anything left. I know, wishful thinking. Here's the rail yard. It's all concrete where they used to dump the trailers. We got this old catch basin here. I'm sure it dates back to railroad days. That's the loading dock we were just at there. I don't know. I'm just looking for anything, any rails. Might be in the ground. A switch stand. Probably not. From the looks of it, it's been so highly desecrated, torn up. Oh, that's a piece of railroad tie. So okay, and there's coal and ballast in there. All right, Russ, you found something. I'll take it. Take whatever we can get. Yep, the woodchuck hole. Now, I don't know exactly where the station would have been, but this Smith Street Yard here in Poughkeepsie, New York, was the actual terminus or starting point for the headquarters for the Poughkeepsie and Eastern. So let's head over that way out behind the scrapyard and see if we can follow the curve. Well, I came behind that scrapyard, and I do believe the bed goes right along here behind this city Poughkeepsie refuge center here with the great big chimney. We'll see. All right, kids, if you're following along, that's the intersection of Salt Point Turnpike and Innis Avenue right here in the, not sure if we're still in the city or perhaps the town of Poughkeepsie. Hello, school bus. That old abandoned farm there has been there forever. And I do believe, according to my aerial access Dutchess County, New York State aerial photographs, Poughkeepsie and Eastern crosses right about where that billboard is. And it goes out that way, and just up there on that hill is the old Fitchett Dairy, and the Maybrook main line is over there. So let's go see what we can find over there. There it is, Fitchett Way. Fitchett was a dairy here in Poughkeepsie, New York. This was all Fitchett over here. That's the Duchess Rail Trail parking lot. This is Creek Road right here, Creek Road. For you following along on your GPS, Duchess Community College is right up and over the hill. I'm gonna go see if I can get down in the back of this dairy, which is now a school bus yard, without getting arrested, shot, or jailed. Wish me luck. Here's a couple of truck loading docks. That's a cool old one right there. Here at the Fitchett complex. Oh, here's the main loading dock. That would have been all refrigerated in there, and the trucks would have been backed up to this dock right here. Well, I got out of the old Fitchett Brothers dairy in a rush. 3 guys came running after me, waving pipe wrenches. So hey, I made it. I came across the street on Creek Road into the parking lot of the Maybrook line. It's the Duchess Rail Trail, whatever they call it. Just figured I'd give you a couple seconds while everything's charging up here, and I'm getting my stamina together to go for a little walk to see if we can find the culvert where the Poughkeepsie and Eastern would have gone underneath the Maybrook line. So what is this Poughkeepsie and Eastern, Poughkeepsie and Connecticut? Right behind me here, off the Maybrook line, was the start of the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. Now, the Central New England built the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut in the late 1880s to compete with the Poughkeepsie and Eastern, which ultimately never ended up happening. They ended up running pretty parallel with each other from Poughkeepsie out to Van Wagner's, to Salt Point, to West Hibernia, to Clinton Corners. At Salt Point, they crossed for the first time. They crossed for the second time out in Stissing Junction, McIntyre, just north of Stanfordville. I'm getting ahead of myself here. So back here to Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie and Eastern, we've been following. It came off of the main line right there by the bridge in the city of Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie and Connecticut started right here behind me, and they both paralleled each other. The Central New England built the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut to compete because the Poughkeepsie and Eastern basically had rights to the bridge route, which was a major coal hauler out into New England, towards Boston and New England proper. In 1910, the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut was abandoned. That was it, all done. Poughkeepsie and Eastern continued a little bit past that. They both were absorbed by the Central New England. Back a few notes back there at the Smith Street yard on the Poughkeepsie and Eastern, I failed to mention, not only was there a passenger station there, there was a freight house there, there was a turntable and an engine house. That was a big major hub, and I do remember that into the 1990s. Conrail running a lot of urban and inner city freight right there. So I think we're about charged up. Let's go that way and go for a walk. All right, just give you an idea, the dairy's over there. That's Creek Road. We came into the parking lot here, and we're right at the tip of Morgan Lake. They used to cut ice on that. And here is the Maybrook main line right here. Let's see what it says. Duchess Rail Trail, Morgan Lake Trailhead, blah blah blah, yada yada. And here it is. So back that way is city of Poughkeepsie and the bridge. We're going this way. Now let's go down this bank here. Boom boom boom. I didn't fall, I'm okay. Right about up yonder, maybe just past that blue sign, about where those folks are walking up there. Oh look, HJ, Hopewell Junction, 12 miles. I bet that's what that means. That's about right. Right about up here is the back yard, if you will, of Fairview Block on Violet Avenue in Poughkeepsie. Follow along on your GPS. So we're gonna go underneath Creek Road and see what we can find. Now, Poughkeepsie, Connecticut started right back here. What we're going to go up here and look for is where the Poughkeepsie, Connecticut and the Poughkeepsie and Eastern basically started their parallel run east. Okay, anything comes up railroad oriented, I'll turn you back on. If not, here we go. Creek Road. Okay, we made it underneath Creek Road. Just for a reference, to the south, this is the Fitchett complex here, the dairy. On our north here, this scrapyard, junkyard, Alco, I believe it used to be called, I believe. And if you look at aerial maps of today and yesterday, this junkyard, it pretty much corresponds to the back property line of this junkyard. So that's what we'll be looking for, because I do believe it goes along there. And if you can see that loader moving in there, he's driving away from us. Out past him is an opening in the woods. That might be the cut where the old P&C went through. Okay kids, I'm pretty excited here. That's where we just came from. This is Maybrook Main Line. That's the junkyard. There, over there is Fitchett Dairy. And what I just found when I walked across that stream is that old abutment right there. Now it's stone reinforced with concrete. And way down there is an old stone one. That road, if you can see, that's the graveyard. That's St.Peters Cemetery. So we can get in back there. I can park Sam right down there and we can walk and look at all those stone ruins and that abutment and that abutment. Let's go a little farther here. We've got to be close to where the Poughkeepsie and Eastern probably went under this Maybrook Main Line. I'm assuming it went under. Oh, hang on. What do we got here? Maybe this tells you about it. Yeah, it just tells you about the Fallkill Creek. Doesn't tell you anything about the old Poughkeepsie and Eastern. Nope, it doesn't. It just tells you you are here and you are not there. All right, so, oh, very interesting. Very interesting. Can't quite walk down there, but this down here looks like a graduated turn. Could this be right here, Poughkeepsie and Eastern? Not sure. We got a lot of wreckage right here. Nice old stone, drill marks just laying there. Oh. Spiky do. Here is Salt Point Turnpike. I've driven under this road bed, not quite a million times, but maybe close to it. I'm not going to go any farther that way. That's going east towards Hopewell and then ultimately Danbury. I'm going to come back here because I do believe right around this second kiosk The roadbed really widens out to have allowed for a switch with the turnout that would have perhaps gone down onto that abutment that we saw. At any rate, what we're going to do is walk back to Sam. Got some old broken telegraph poles down in there, hard to tell, but some really nice bean pole locust. I'd like to get them on my sawmill. We're going to walk back to Sam. We're going to drive on around and come in St. Peters and go in that back road and go all the way to the back. How's that? Way up yonder's the main line, Maybrook line. I came down here and there it is. There she is. That was a turnout Y off the main line that came down here, and there are those two. I see two now. We're going to get into that cemetery in a little bit, but I wanted to come down here first. I know I told you we were going down there. We will. Stand by. Look at these beauties. Right here, I bet this is a Poughkeepsie and Eastern. We're standing on it. I would lay my dwindling reputation on it. Now, the elevation of the Maybrook main line and these stone abutments is really a ways off. Could they have had a diamond? I don't know if they would have had an at-grade crossing up there or not. My old maps from 1936 show that that's the Fallkill Creek right there. That's the Fallkill Creek. They show that, but they also show something here. So I'm thinking that probably right here is where the Poughkeepsie and Eastern crossed and went on down that way to that one, and we're going to get in there and show you more. Here we are, kids. Fallkill Creek going under the Maybrook main line. I do not see a date up there, but I would guess in the 1910, 1912 range. Yep, that's going south toward the city of Poughkeepsie. That's coming from up north. Fallkill Creek right here, and there's that junkyard. And the cemetery's over there, and guess what? The fence is broken. I don't have to drive in there. I'm gonna walk. Shh. We made it in. That's a pretty big, tall, ominous marker. So, there's that stone abutment. Could that be original Maybrook line? I'm standing here by this tree to block off the sun. I just don't know. I just don't know. But what I do know is these stone abutments have got to be Poughkeepsie and Eastern, which tells me it gradually went up in elevation and crossed at this lower level, not the upper level, crossed the Maybrook main line. So where we're standing is the exact location where the Poughkeepsie and Eastern crossed the Maybrook main line. Wait a minute, these are not piers, these are mausoleums. Maybe. Wow, this is the weirdest thing. Yeah, these are not sorry guys, these are mausoleums. These are burial mausoleums. I'm sorry. I thought we were on to something here. Okay, well, I won't film them. I thought we were on to something. I think we are, but just off on my location, maybe. That guy didn't make it. This is definitely the Fallkill Creek. And the Poughkeepsie and Eastern definitely came from the city up this way. I've got aerial proof of that from 1936. The roadbed is so clear it's not even funny. Well, on our way back, we've got this concrete here just prior to Creek Road, and I imagine that was just alerting the engineer to the fact that there was an underpass coming up. Alright, this came from there, those beautiful abutments down there. That right there might be Poughkeepsie and Connecticut grade. Right there. Looks like it forks and Y's back into the main line up here. Let me go up that way a little ways and get back with you. Made it to Morgan Lake. Beautiful spot right now. And I do believe that overpass way down yonder, looks like a light down there. I see some cars going over it. That is basically the beginning of Parker Avenue and the end of Violet Avenue. Violet Avenue is also Route 9G. Well, I do believe we are close to where the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut wide off the main line. See that? I walked on a rail trail and I didn't need to wear my spandex. Nice. Okay, that old iron bridge there, I do believe this is the start of the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut right here. Pulled into the local Stewart's. Got my lunch. I'm all set. I came back in, around, and into the cemetery via Sam. And I'm in the back. And those cars from that junkyard up there on that gradient up there has got to be the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. And the Poughkeepsie and Eastern is either just below it, right here along the Fallkill Creek, or it's actually this back road in St.Peters Cemetery. I'm gonna go to the north end up there and see if I can definitively put a dot on this. Okay, I think I can definitively claim this back road here in St. Peters Cemetery at the extreme rear, the extreme western back edge, right along the Fallkill Creek right here, is indeed the Poughkeepsie and Eastern Railroad bed. And I can also definitively say, without a doubt, that gradient right there is Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. As I thought, right behind, right through the middle of the junkyard, Alco Auto Parts off Creek Road, Poughkeepsie and Connecticut, and right here, St. Peters, Poughkeepsie and Eastern. Okay, I would say from here, as the crow flies to that, Poughkeepsie and Connecticut there, Poughkeepsie and Eastern here, maybe 100 feet. And I think they get even closer up there. Let's go find out. Salt Point Turnpike. Clearly you can see that one. Poughkeepsie and Eastern. Goes back through that brand new manufactured housing development and hooks on down into the junkyard. St. Peters Cemetery, sorry, this is Poughkeepsie and Eastern Cemetery. Crosses Salt Point Turnpike, heads east. Now, and there's a iron gate iron gate. Right here across the right of way. This is the right of way, Poughkeepsie and Eastern, at Salt Point Turnpike. Right there. Right up here. Excuse me, Sam. Right here is Poughkeepsie in Connecticut. Right there, clear as a bell, P&C. Right there, P&C. So, if you're counting from Poughkeepsie, you go past St.Peters Cemetery, St. Peters Cemetery, just before the Gables. And right here, about 50 feet apart from each other, they cross Salt Point Turnpike. And they parallel each other. There's one, Poughkeepsie and Eastern. Here's Poughkeepsie in Connecticut. I do believe the next crossing will be Van Wagner's. Let's go check it out. All right, if you're following along, came out Salt Point Turnpike to the Bosse's Peach Road. Peach, like Georgia peach. Turned right. Took Peach to Van Wagner Road. Took a right, and here we are. Poughkeepsie in Connecticut. Crosses here, goes on out. We documented that caboose. I'll include that footage on this video, I do believe. Poughkeepsie in Connecticut goes off that way. Poughkeepsie and Eastern is the one that crosses right there with that culvert with the date on it. I documented that the other day, and oh looky, there's a little train in there. Van Wagner Road, town of Poughkeepsie, New York. Rail bed. Let's go down here and find the other one. So this is the location here on Van Wagner Road where the Poughkeepsie and Eastern and the Poughkeepsie in Connecticut, two lines that both spurned off of the Poughkeepsie line, had their origins in Poughkeepsie and went up through Dutchess County, New York on pretty similar paths. In fact, at 2 points along their travels, they crossed over top of one another. This is culvert left over from that. We got a date right there. Let's go get it. Well, right there I'm looking at 1912 concrete culvert. By the way, somewhere right here near this caboose on Van Wagner's Road was the actual station of Van Wagner's. Here we are on Station Road in Pleasant Valley. That's the old feed store. It's the old bed right here. Station Road is the railroad bed. This plaza over here is called Sawmill Plaza because Don Robinson used to have his sawmill here. I bought some oak planks from him many times over the years. Don Robinson was Carson Robinson's son. Carson Robinson, along with Vernon Dalhart, were two of the earlier actual recorded country music artists. Bet you didn't know that. That was Donnie's house way up on the hill. We used to play music up there. So this was the site of the sawmill right here. Donnie lived up there and the sawmill was here. This is Station Road. This is the rail bed, and I will show you a really cool rock cut up there. That's the back of the A&P, which is currently Acme right now. We're going to take a shortcut. Here's a fun fact for you kids. The Pleasant Valley train station was relocated from its original location down in the village of Pleasant Valley on up West Road
to the backyard of the West Road Elementary School, where it sat, and they were going to restore it and use it for a little classroom for the kids, which I believe they did for a little short period of time. Then it was purchased by the Dutchess County Agricultural Society and moved to its current location at the Dutchess County Fairgrounds in a little historical section they've got, along with the Mount Ross Schoolhouse in Rhinebeck, New York.
Well, disregard the humps and bumps of the modern day blacktop, but if you were on a train on the Central New England, formerly Poughkeepsie and Eastern, you would have passed by this rock cut right here, because we are on the roadbed. Pretty impressive. See the drill marks? See the iron pins up there and the fence? And Donnie's house way up there. Pleasant Valley, New York. Okay, the roadbed continues on up that way, and it crosses North Avenue up a little ways by Ravine Road. Okay, the Poughkeepsie and Eastern comes out of Pleasant Valley, comes up North Avenue, crosses North Avenue by Ravine Road, and it goes out into this town park. We are driving on the Poughkeepsie and Eastern Railroad bed. I have never been down here. You're doing it with me for the first time. How about that? Poughkeepsie and Eastern Railroad bed. From this point onward, northward, northeastward, it goes up through current modern day Dutchess Quarry, big stone quarry, crosses North Avenue again, and there we are at the end. And then Poughkeepsie and Eastern and Poughkeepsie and Connecticut both cross over one another. Nice little town park back here. They both cross over one another up yonder, up by the just south of Salt Point, in between Pleasant Valley and Salt Point. I've documented that crossing a few times. We are back to the PNC, Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. This is Shiro Road and Wigston Road right here. I do believe that Spring Creek Drive is the roadbed, and I do believe it crosses Shiro right here and goes out behind the backyard of that house up there. I just thought this was interesting. 1897 to 1910. Coal Office, Clayton S. Doty, proprietor. I wonder if on this site there was a coal yard. Alright, so we started out down in Poughkeepsie, we ended up out in Pleasant Valley, and we're now in between Pleasant Valley and Salt Point. This is North Avenue. I've documented this Red Fox Lane, those stone entranceways there where the stones come from. I'll include that footage on this video just because it's pertinent. This one here was Poughkeepsie and Eastern. Poughkeepsie and Connecticut is right up on that ridge behind that house. And it comes out, and right up yonder, where I've pointed out a few times in a few of my videos, I'll point it out again, is where Poughkeepsie and Eastern went over top of, I believe, the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. So here's a fun fact for you, friends. This road here is North Avenue. Down that way is Pleasant Valley, New York. You come on up North Avenue, and you hit this Red Fox Lane going north on your right, and these two stone entryways here, this one and this one over here, well, these stones were built when Kirchhoff Builders came in to this great big expanse of land here, and they built these 2 to 5 acre home sites. I believe it was back in the 90s. Way back in there, way back there, it's the railroad bed. And right over behind this house is the second one, Poughkeepsie and Eastern, Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. Well, these stones are significant because when the builders were building these roads, they encountered a few small culverts and a small abutment, and they took these stones and preserved them and decided they would build some decorative stone entryways here at the beginning of this development. Red Fox Ridge on North Avenue, Pleasant Valley. So these stones are from the railroad culverts and abutment back there. Let's go back there and show you where that was. Down this way. Way out there where that white car with the taillights on, that's at North Avenue. We came in this road here, this Red Fox, and almost to the end, there it is. There's the rail bed. We're standing on it right there. That's south to Pleasant Valley. Spinning around here, we got Sam sitting right on the bed, and that is north to Salt Point. And just out beyond these woods is the field where Poughkeepsie and Eastern and the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut crossed over top of each other. In the last year of use, when the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut shut down first, Poughkeepsie and Eastern put in a cross spur. They, I believe they had some sort of lease usage track agreement with the shareholders of Poughkeepsie and Connecticut, or the folks that took over at the end, the receivership, I think that's the word, to use those tracks for X per month. That only lasted a year or so. Anyway, here's the rail bed. So could have been anywhere back in here, but luckily the builders of Kirchhoff Builders had the wherewithal to save those stones and use them out there on the main road as a nice little entryway. And we got some spoils of man back there on the railroad bed. Little shed, looks like junk firewood. I was kind of friends with one of the builders back then, and he told me that a local gentleman actually got and saved and salvaged both date stones, you know, 1910, 1905, whatever the dates were, from that abutment. And I assume somewhere locally here in Dutchess County, they still exist in somebody's backyard, on somebody's stone wall, perhaps as somebody's fire pit. I don't know, but I just like to think that they're still here locally and somebody cherishes them and somebody knows what they are. So there you go. Well, how about that? I walked over to get in Sam and I decided to come on this side. And looky, and I'm not talking about that vodka bottle, I'm talking about this stone structure right here. Now that's a brand new 1990s concrete box culvert that they put in for this road. But these stones, I would imagine, were also recycled from the original abutment. I'm looking and I don't see the date stone, so I think that story that my friend told me back in the 90s about somebody taking the 2 date stones is probably true. So here's the bed right here, and this stream, which is flowing that way, I imagine went right under. So I imagine right about where Sam is where that culvert was, the stone hand-laid culvert that they saved those stones from. I believe it was right here. Just a little segment here in my Dutchess County wanderings on Russ's Random Ramblings. Yeah, that's it. Well, in true being fair to everybody, there's Sam, there's the road. I came over to this side. I can't really get down in there, it's really thick. But there's, right about there's the other end of that brand new 1990s box culvert. And there are some more original stones built into that. So yeah, the builders utilized and recycled the old stones from the original abutment and culvert from the railroad. In fact, they come all the way over to here. That's one right there. Yeah. Oh, I just got a bird just pooped on my head. Oh man, you don't get that in your comfy chairs, do you? Let's get out of here. Poughkeepsie, Connecticut was abandoned in 1910. Poughkeepsie and Eastern lasted a few years past that, and not too long after that they were both gone. So a relatively short period of time in Dutchess County's history, railroad history, and the average person walking, driving, going to the malls, living, working here doesn't know the rich railroad history of Dutchess County, New York. Hopefully we shed a little light on the Poughkeepsie and Eastern and the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut. Two lines, parallel. Thanks. Thanks for watching this video on lost rail beds about the Poughkeepsie and Eastern and the Poughkeepsie and Connecticut railroads. They both originated in Poughkeepsie, New York, Dutchess County, here in the Hudson Valley. They traversed side by side together eastward, out through Dutchess County, through the hamlets and towns of Van Wagner, Salt Point, Clinton, Stanford, and Pine Plains, and beyond. All the while hauling goods to and from markets, into and out of the northeastern United States. Thanks, guys.